In this video we're going to be building a DIY quarter pipe. First, let's rewind to the previous episode where we started this obstacle, and I'll catch you up to where I am right now. This wasn't planned, so if this does fit, it was just meant to be. Let me just say that. I do need to sweep this ground ever so slightly. But I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to knock some of this side filler off, but I think this is gonna work really nicely actually. Oh, it's perfect. That is perfect. I am gonna glue these down. I want to do them flat, but because there's so much stuff on the ground, it's gonna be easier to do them this way, and then the cinder blocks on top will be flat. Not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It's just gonna be our little wall to build our transitions onto. Using my glove to get all this caulking down. Same thing as previously. Gotta use our caulking gun. The goal with adding these cinder blocks is so we can have a small wall for our transitions, because I want to eventually launch off this quarter pipe into the wall right to the left or to the right. Man, I'm hyped because it is a nice gloomy day. I have some free time this morning, so what I'm going to do is actually make our form for this quarter pipe, this concrete filler. I'm going to fill it with everything that we need and then just basically get it ready for concrete versus trying to do it all in one go. I was thinking about picking up concrete, but instead just do a little preparation right now. Build our forms. I brought some simple tools down here. I didn't bring all my tools. Just got my jigsaw basically for cutting some stuff. I got my drill and then some screws to apply some things. Don't leave your trash here, even if it's bearings left over, your grip tape, it's lame. I know you're a skater. You got no excuses for this. I probably sound like a broken record, but it's just hey, if I'm coming down here and building spots, I don't care if other people skate it. Obviously, it's not my spot to tell people whether they can skate or not. I'm here making it public on YouTube. I don't care. I'm hyped that people come down here and skate it. Honestly, it's really cool to see clips and stuff on Instagram, people skating it, but when they leave trash, it's just such a bummer. It's so easy to just pick up your trash and take it. So I feel like I'm very repetitive with this, but if you go to any DIY skate spot, even if you're not helping, it doesn't matter. You don't have to donate, none of that. The only thing that I ever expect, and anybody else that's building spots expects, is that you just take your trash with you. It's really simple. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to police skate spots, but please just pick up your trash. It is a weekday. Normally I don't like building on a weekday, but let's get to it. These forms back here are the same forms I used for the wall ride right here. And essentially I'm just gonna stick them on here, but I'm not gonna do them super flush, meaning I'm not gonna get all the transition. I'm actually gonna do them so they're a little bit steeper and we have a harsh edge. That way it kind of just lifts us into the wall. I'll blend that just by hand, but the idea of using these is just so I have something to kind of keep the concrete together, versus just troweling it freestyle, which you could totally do. I just figured I have the form, so I might as well use it. I need to get a 2x4 and just drill it in to keep the stuff nice and structured so it doesn't fall out when we're adding concrete like that. As you know, I'm always trying to repurpose our wood, essentially. So it's the old 2x4, keep it around. And I kind of made some cuts to this so it stays in here. So what I'm going to do is just basically try to cut this in width of this form. That's how wide we're gonna do it. I probably only need one 2x4 because it's pretty narrow. Don't like making too much noise on a weekday because, people are working nearby, pretty close to the coast, so we get some nice marine layer right now. Perfect width, yeah. Now it's just a matter of drilling it in, essentially. Oh no, did I cut off more than I could chew? So maybe I have to go down here. Yeah, that'll still keep it together. Point is, this doesn't need to be super structurally sound. Just enough to keep it in place. Now that we have our basic shape of the transitions, start filling it by adding these rocks first. This will save us from having to pour more concrete, essentially. with that said, when we're adding filler, just want to make sure there's at least 3 inches to keep concrete thick enough so it doesn't crack too much. Doesn't need to be super thick. You could even do 2 inches really. I'm not too worried about it, but yeah. Need to have some room in that top area. Now, I've been saving this pull block, maybe do something with it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So I think it's just gonna become filler. Might break it. It's a couple more pieces. I still have some pull coping at home from the skate park renovation that I was able to snag, luckily. I think that's enough to start putting some dirt on there. So I do want to have some thicker concrete up here. Eventually I'm gonna have to use this for the top because I do want to pour some concrete above the center box to make it nice and level. Luckily we got some nice wet dirt because of all the marine layer we've had lately, which will be nice to work with because it's all compact versus loose. Be careful where I'm stepping though because it's slippery. Definitely don't want to get this stuff on me. Not the cleanest dirt, that's for sure, but it's free. I think I'll just need like 2 buckets fulls because it's so compact. Alright, so this is where we're leaving things for right now. Next step is basically pick up concrete, start throwing it in there and work with it. I think I'm gonna experiment a little bit with this one since I built that ledge with that fast setting and it held so quickly. I could quickly trowel it and I could take the forms off right away. I might do some fast set for this so I can take the forms off and then add a little hip, or not really hip, but some support onto the sides. I don't know, it's gonna be a little bit of a freestyle, but next thing, we gotta pick up some concrete. I'm actually not gonna get the fast setting stuff. As you can see, it's actually $6.71. You get 50 pounds for that stuff, which is really nice. I used it in the last project in the mountain spot that I built in the ditch. But this stuff right here is $4.48. You get 10 more pounds for the quikrete. So I'm not in a big rush to skate this right away. Otherwise I would use the red concrete, or if we were building the ledge, I wanted to use the red concrete because it dries much faster. So we're just gonna get some regular bags. I think I'm gonna be good with like 5 bags. Oh man, water spillage. So just trying to bring all my concrete over here and my water fell on the way. I only brought 1 tub, which is just enough for 6 bags. Ended up getting more and more bags than I thought I was gonna get. So yeah, we have some water jeopardization right now. That's all right. I caught it before it all spilled out, but man, that's unfortunate. Bringing stuff down here ain't no easy feat, but we won't waste no time because we got like 2 hours until the sun goes down. Just gonna get straight to business here. I did bring a pull coping trowel, which is something I've never done before, never used it. I have an idea of how to use it, but I have no experience with it. So I might try to get to that if we have enough time. Definitely fighting the sunlight today. So I may not have too much time to slowly talk through this process, which is what I normally like to do for these videos, kind of talk through what I'm doing. So I may do some voiceover or some music and just show you. So by now you probably have a good understanding if you see my videos of what I'm about to do. With that said, I'm just gonna get right into it. I do want to clean some of this ground. Make sure we get a direct concrete, no dust. Kind of one of the more important parts. Making sure that your concrete's sitting right on here. There's a reason I don't drill into the ground here. The ground is just super hard, and basically I don't want to be repetitive, so we're just gonna get into it. Concrete bonding adhesive helps it stick to the ground a little better. Normally I don't like to mix a whole bag at once, but because we're in a crunch today, I feel like that's just how it's gonna have to go. Don't want it to splash everywhere. One bag on there. I think I'm gonna try to get like 3 bags on there, and then I'll start troweling it. I do have that piece of wood that I'm gonna shimmy basically. So instead of using like a wood float, which you can definitely use, but because I have these forms, I can just kind of shimmy it on the forms. Kind of get an idea what we're working with. As you can see, this guy up here is gonna get pretty loose, so I need to figure something out. I need to be able to shimmy it so I can't have it too high. Show you the trick. Alright, so because I know we're going to run out of water fast, I'm going to use a lot of glue. It's not going to hurt, and I can just preserve some of my water. Since I got some concrete on there, I have an idea where the lows and highs are. I do need to start getting it to the top. Kind of getting these cinder blocks. I might have to just kind of push it in there by hand. Then we can trowel it after. Don't want it to fall out the back, so what I'm going to do is actually hold this wood. Essentially, I'm just using this 2x4 that we cut. Just do a little light shimmy work. Push it into place. That's up there. Just pressing all this Since this form's not perfect, I have to kind of spread this out a little. Now I do want to use some of our mortar to fill these other little areas. Make sure I grab that. Unfortunately, my mic cut out. Normally, I like talking through the process as I'm doing it. Since my camera didn't capture all the audio, I'll try my best to explain what's happening. After mixing some concrete mortar along with concrete bonding adhesive, I started filling the gaps of our transition. The nice part about mortar is that it makes it really easy to fill any voids. You don't want to use all mortar for builds because it is weaker and you need some rock to make everything strong and bond together. Now I'm going to be using my magnesium trowel to get everything into place while smoothing out all of our transitions at the same time. The goal for this part of the build is to get a nice smooth transition to the lip. Adding concrete bonding adhesive to the bottom of our transitions and adding mortar will help blend to the existing flat ground. Plus, it makes it much easier to get a really smooth surface. For the coping, I want to use our regular Quikrete, not mortar. We need this to have some structure and I don't want it to all fall apart. I'm using a lot of concrete bonding adhesive in an attempt to make sure all of our concrete sticks together to the cinder blocks that we previously laid down. After I have a nice consistent mix, I started stacking the concrete on top of the cinder blocks where I want to eventually start troweling the hand poured coping. I've never attempted this before, but I've been wanting to give it a shot for a long time. Throughout this process, I definitely learned a lot. Now that all the concrete is into place where I want it to be, I'm going to be using the pole trowel that Locum DIY sent me. This trowel is made specifically for concrete coping like I'm trying to do for skateboarding. I will leave a link in the description if you want to check out the company. I'm super stoked that they sent this to me to try out. I went back again with the coping trowel. At this point is where I believe it went wrong. Instead of just leaving the shape I had gotten to, I started adding mortar to try and fill some of the exposed concrete that I feel like wasn't smooth enough and I was getting some honeycombs. But the problem with this is that the mortar starts to sag and the coping loses its general shape, which is really important. If I was going to do this again, which I plan to do, I'm going to use some rapid fast setting concrete so it keeps the shape better and starts to cure a little faster. That way it doesn't sag down. It works better than Quikrete in my opinion. Not that I know yet, but I have a good feeling it will. Also, to not use any mortar so it doesn't end up sagging. I tried my best to make it work, but at the end, I just wasn't really confident with leaving it the way it was, but I did learn a lot of lessons throughout the process, which is the whole point of building these DIY skate parks or these skate spots is that it's just like skating. You're gonna try, you're gonna mess up, and then you try to fix those mistakes the next time. All right, so I've run into an issue. I kept trying to trowel it, which I think was the air. I think with this noping stuff, I'm gonna try it next time, but I think every time I build a spot, it's a learning lesson. As you can see, I kind of messed things up. It was looking really good. I think troweling it over and over and over was a bad idea. I think you gotta get it on there nice and just leave it. Started troweling it, kind of messing it up. So I'm gonna try to recover it somehow. That's all right. I could be really mad about it, but I don't know. These videos are always trial and error. I'm not an expert by any means and not a concrete professional, but I'm gonna work with what we got. All right, well, pretty much salvaged it. I'm filthy. It's getting dark, but yeah, It's not bad. Definitely doesn't have the noping that I wanted, like the hand stack coping, but it's got a little lip to it, enough to where like you could probably do a pivot fakie or a feeble hurricane. It's better than nothing. It was an attempt. I'm still not mad about it. I'm glad I tried it, but learning lesson for sure. First time, next time I'm gonna do a drier mix, and I almost think it would have been better to do the coping first and then the transition. A little bit of trial there, but turned out not bad. We'll definitely come back when it's nice and dry. I haven't had a chance to go check up on the spot since we finished that concrete job. It's been like 2 days, but right now I'm gonna go check on it. Hopefully everything looks really good. Nobody skated it too early. By today, by this afternoon, I definitely think it will be skatable. 2 days is normally good enough for concrete to cure, enough to skate it at least. It hasn't rained at all lately, but check this out. Like, we have some buildup happening. As you can see, it's coming from that drain right here, and it's starting to build up over here. The reason for it, up above, I don't want to show you because it kind of blow out where the location is of the spot. I already do that good enough, so I don't want to fully blow it out on the busy road that's up above. There's like a sinkhole happening, like all the ground is sort of like falling apart and like going down into this drainage, and that's why we have all this dirt down here, which is nice because I can use it for building our spots. But the thing is, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but actually looking at it, I can see water dripping from that little piece right there. So there's definitely some sort of a leak happening right there. This may make the city come down here and do something about it, especially when it starts flooding and raining, because it's going to add a lot of buildup. I think it's also because they planted some trees up above and they added some, like a drip line or some sort of irrigation line. I think that irrigation line is causing like a little bit of a mini sinkhole situation. So a little concerned about all this because it hasn't even rained. And if you've been watching this series of me building this spot for a while, you've seen like it floods gnarly down here. So that may be an issue in the future months, but let's check up on the spot. It actually, I mean, I know this isn't like the lip I really wanted, like kind of hand poured coping, but it's not bad, like enough to stall on. You might be thinking like, hey, that's decent, or you might be thinking, hey, that's really bad. It's definitely not perfect. It's not the shape of the trowel that I really wanted, but it still creates something. Like, you definitely get some axle on there, separation from the transition, but it's definitely not good enough to skate yet. I thought it might have been. Maybe it just hasn't been getting enough sun down here. Maybe that's what it is. I actually went up to LA for a day, and maybe it was gloomy down here. I don't know. So I'm gonna give it one more day. I am gonna save the skating in this episode for a future video part that's gonna come in the coming weeks. Get some clips on this for that video part, so make sure you subscribe for that, and we'll see you in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. I don't mean to leave you hanging, but yeah, we're gonna save the skating for a future video coming on the channel.